The system pressures on cities in these fast-growing conditions are really intense in terms of the nexus between things like food, demographic change, migration into the cities, the pressures on resources, whether it be water or energy and so on. And urban transport is a classic example of this, because as cities grow, first thing people often do is buy a car. And so I'm not an expert in cities or transportation, but I spend a lot of time sitting in traffic jams in African cities, cogitating the fact that it's very wasteful, and to have the professional classes sitting for sometimes hours a day in traffic jams is a real problem that we need to get past.
It's key. Mass transit system is obviously the key. The problem with that is that it's costly. So first you have to find funding for that, and second you cannot miss your targets. So it's very important to carefully plan before, to be aware of the need of the population, to have like a very broad and participatory approach, to involve the citizens, the politicians, the experts as well, all the stakeholders involved in mobility when you design this kind of plan, and to make sure that it is integrated with other transport means, and make sure that actually people can access by taxi, by bike, walking, bus, etc., so that it's you make something comprehensive and integrated. I believe at the time metros were built in cities that were already well established, long time, etc., and pretty much formalized. The problem we have today with these cities, like in Cameroon, in Douala or Yaoundé, for example, is that we are facing cities with a very strong growth rate. It's like 3 to 4% a year, when an average European city is 0.123 something. So by the time you plan and the time you actually implement your solution and the metro is built, the city has grown tremendously. So we have to make sure that we take into account these elements, like that people are going to come more and more, first in informal situation, and in a second moment in the formalized situation. But the difficulty is really about that, and I think as well is it was maybe easier earlier back then to mobilize public money. Today there is this huge pressure on scarce resources for public money. And I think there is this idea that public money is scarce, and this is, I think, part of the problem as well.
La ville de Douala attire 100 000 habitants par an. Donc la population a tendance à s'installer dans des zones de la ville à extension. Or, nous sommes une ville monocentrique. C'est-à-dire les services sont centrés à un seul point. Donc du coup, les déplacements sont augmentés, ce qui cause de la perte de temps et de la congestion. Un autre problème aussi, c'est qu'on a beaucoup de mototaxis dans la ville. Ce sont des véhicules motorisés à 2 roues. Donc, qui ne respectent pas toujours le code de la route, qui sont un peu partout dans la ville. Et donc, nous avons essayé de restreindre leur circulation à certains points de la ville et à d'autres non. Mais là, ça viendra par la suite. Et nous sommes en train de vouloir construire des voies réservées où nous n'aurons que des voies réservées aux bus.
Usually they don't really disagree with each other, it's just that they don't talk with each other. But what the type, for instance, you have the implementation of the BRT on an avenue. It takes place for the traffic of cars, and how to deal with that, but how to deal also with how people will move from the train station to the BRT bus station. how it will work if you don't talk to each other, and how you don't take the place of the user, and how you try to imagine the user who is going to come with the train when it will work, and how will be its way as a pedestrian to go from the train to this bus station. If those two perimeters are not considered in the same perimeters, to study the flows, to study how the city can mutate on this place, to study how you can also create value, because it's also an objective for the city is to create value, then you do a mistake, and that's why we really need to have everyone around the table. This is a big challenge, because when you enter in a country and when you explain that you really want to organize workshop, meetings, then everyone explains you that no, here no one can is able to talk to each other. It's not possible to organize workshop. So, for instance, in a country where I worked for 1 year, we proposed to have workshop and to say everyone has to organize and to explain what is its own problem. Even the Ministry of Culture, because there is an historical building, the Ministry of Roads, because they always have the priority to implement highways. And so the challenge is to accept that we have to organize places where you have everyone. And this is a big challenge. We worked with negotiation, and after explanation, after demonstration, and also thanks to our experience in France, where the problems are exactly the same, you explain that we have been able to do some very big, interesting hub in France, because we managed to have around the table all the stakeholders.